Hey, my name is Greg. I'm an operations fellow at my school's entrepreneurship center. I started out using Google Sheets, but then I eventually switched over to MongoDB. And for more views like this, go ahead and click below. With both Google Sheets and MongoDB, what we were doing is we were tracking our our club engagement amongst our students, and in a way that it's like if people would come and check in for an event, we would initially populate like, hey, someone came and attended that, and that would be a row in our Excel or Google Sheets rather. Um, but eventually moved that over to MongoDB and automated a lot of those processes in terms of checking in and seeing which events were most engaging. Um, that was the big driver of using both of those. Yeah, so MongoDB is really great at integrating into our own web apps, right? So when I'm building a web app to support the Entrepreneurship Center, it can be hard to pull data directly from Google Sheets into that application. But MongoDB that's what it's built for. It serves as our backend database, and we're able to query against it, add rows, and pull from it as we need to. Yeah, so Google Sheets has really did a few things. I think primarily it's really easy to set up. As anyone knows, you can go to the website and simply create a new sheet and enter data immediately. It's flexible. It has most of the built-in functions you'd expect from a spreadsheet, especially compared to things like numbers. It's vastly better than that. I think it's also relatively friendly for collecting data outside of that sheet, right? Like the Google Forms integrations make it really easy to pull data in from forms that you might show other people. Yeah, I think that's primarily where Google Sheets shines. Yeah, so I think getting started with Google Sheets is vastly easier than getting started with MongoDB. That's why we started with them. It was quick to set up. It's sort of, it may not scale super well, but I think it's quite easy to engage with, a few hundred or even a few thousand rows and make sense of that data. I think where MongoDB shines is it's relatively easy to import data once you have, if you can have someone that knows how to code and work with Mongo, it's also a very easy database to use. It's just a matter of getting either your existing data in there or building applications to collect new data. I think the two are sort of offer different levels of learning curves, but once you tackle both, neither one is particularly complicated, but Google Sheets is certainly easier. So I think when looking at these two offerings, my primary, I guess, thought or goal was to make it easy for other people to use. And Google Sheets does that pretty well. So if you understand who's going to be interacting with these two pieces of software, that's the big trick. If you can make an application that interacts with MongoDB, and that can be coded for you, or you can do that, then that's the result I would go with. MongoDB is easier to scale. It works with vastly more amounts of data and is really quite user friendly. But it's not going to be something that someone who isn't technical can walk in and understand. So really, the big consideration, just to summarize, would be how technical are your users who are going to be interacting with and putting data into the system, and are they going to be able to sort of understand and engage with the different, I guess, ways of thinking about the data.